Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And this show is called Paying Off Your Debt in 7 Years, Paying Off Mortgages in 7 years, Paying Off Car Loans in 7 years, Paying Off Student Loans in 5 to 7 years. Listen, folks, we do not have to pay all of that interest, and it is the interest that keeps us bound to the debt. So, you want to pay off the debt? Pay less interest. You want to know how to pay less interest? Oh, plug into the P.I.L.L method, prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage and liquidity. And we have the lovely Rosa Lore in with us this morning. Rose, how's it going with you?
It's going well, Don. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Rose, you got to tell the folks you are doing some great things this year. Listen, 2023, all right? You started 2023 back in 2022. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you start the new year in the old year? Tell us what you did, girlfriend.
Well, 2022 of December, actually, I decided to host two events. The second one was just unexpected, but I did a 12 days of Christmas because, we all have our New Year's resolution where, we put the pen to the paper and write down our goals for 2023. And I was like, well, I mean, if we're going to write goals for 2023 and start them off in the new year, why not start it now? Let's get a head start. So I put together a 12 days of Christmas event where we had experts that came on stage and shared practical tips, resources, and things that you can do to, jumpstart your 2023. So it was very inspirational. A lot of people, got some good content out of it and was very motivated for 2023. And then after that event, we did the Kwanzaa. Now, mind you, I heard about Kwanzaa. I never understood what it was. I didn't even understand that it had principles. So when I was going through the principles, I was like, I lived this anyway. So I said, well, let's go ahead and learn this as a community. And let me tell you, it was powerful. So many people got like clarity. And let me tell you, if that's your word for 2023, clarity, let me tell you, we got clarity during Kwanzaa as us as people, and it doesn't matter if you're black, brown, green, white, we all got clarity of what we need to bring to the table and how we can work as a collective, because there's so much individualism going on where, we're only looking out for ourselves, or maybe looking out for ourselves and our family, but we forget the very thing that brings us together as community. It's coming together as a unit, bringing your strengths to the table, and then also fulfilling others' weaknesses, and then just being that yin and the yang and working together, right? So we all identified what our strengths were. We identified what we're creative at, and then we were able to form something out of that and how to bring that to the table to work as a collective. So it was amazing. I loved it. And you know what? And I don't do rooms myself, but
You need to.
I know. Listen, I thought too much into it, and I'm like, you know what? It's not all that bad. So I see why you do what you do, Don. It's not all that bad. So yes, I'm going to be hosting rooms. I actually have one tonight in my house called
What?
Cream. If you guys have not joined it, yeah, it's called Cream. And like I said, I'm giving back to the community because that's where I find joy, helping other people. So if you guys need the help, if you're not in the financial position to actually hire someone to get your credit together, to get your finances together, join me at the house. I work with those that want help, but you have to also put one foot forward and seek the help. A lot of us need it. A lot of us need that guidance. And that's why Don does what he do. And I'm following right behind his footsteps. I'm doing the same thing, Don. I'm going to be consistent like you 2023. So
Come on,
watch out,
girl.
you guys. Yes.
Listen, we're talking about the bank's math ain't mathin'. Listen, when you hear something about money, when you hear something about what the bank is doing, and I'm going to tell you right now, on most everything that seems positive about banking, I'm going to tell you, just assume it's the exact opposite, and then come talk to us at the P.I.L.L method. All right. For instance, I'm going to give you some, and then I'm going to lead right back to you, Credit Goddess, because I'm going to give an example that you can talk about. Because one of my clients who follows us and he watches these videos, he doesn't watch it live. He watches the replays. Okay. He runs a dealership here in town. All right. And my wife and I were at an event. I'm starting to go to more events, and he says, "Pill Method guy." Because I run television commercials here on the largest television station here in Huntsville, and I said, "Pill Method guy." He says, "Come by my dealership because I need to talk to you." So and then another guy who's a pastor here in town who watched the commercials, he says, I was listening to Credit Goddess, and he asked me about you said something about credit profile, not just credit score. Now, when you hear credit score, everybody is trying to get credit score. All right, everybody's trying to get credit score. And listen, when you have a subject called the bank's math ain't mathin', if all I had to do, Credit Goddess, was give you a credit score for you to pay me back my money on time, how valuable really is credit score when you compare it with credit profile? I need you to break that down for the people because this is what we're talking about today. The bank's math ain't mathin'.
Repeat that question one more time.
Okay, one more time. One more time. Okay, so everybody's focused in on credit score and trying to get that credit score up. One of my clients heard you talking, and in fact, they're going to call you because I told them, I do business with you, so he's going to call you. So he's a pastor right here in town. All right, and he wanted to know what's the difference between credit score. Well, I thought everybody wanted to have a high credit score, and you guys spent more time talking about credit profile. In terms of the bank's math ain't mathin', which one is more important to you, credit score or credit profile? Talk to us.
Credit profile. So I want you guys to understand what makes up the credit score is the profile. Let's go back to high school. Let's go back to high school.
Before you get started, Credit Guys, you need to please introduce yourself. Because we got to give this context. And folks, if you're in the room, we're going to be putting some examples on the screen. You want to go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and search Pill Method and watch our examples online. And I need you to while you're doing that, tune into what Credit Goddess is saying, because everything we're going to be talking about as far as what you understand about finances. When I say you want to look at everything and then assume it's opposite, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Go for it.
Yes. Okay. So, hey, everyone. My name is Rosalord Lewis, also known as Credit Goddess. I am all things credit. I'm a credit score improvement strategist. So, not only do I help my clients repair, because that's just a small portion of improving your credit, but the education in itself, learning how to build and maintain your credit makes up 87% of your score. So, if you're just fixing it and not rebuilding, then you're not going to see much of an improvement. So, with education, I help my clients improve and maintain their credit so that way they can be in the best position to qualify for funding, because I'm also a NAV business loan broker. I help entrepreneurs and business owners establish their business credit so that way they can maintain and grow and scale their business, leveraging their business credibility. So the same concept of credit is about the trust, is about your capacity, is about your ability to pay back in a timely manner. So they pretty much score you based on your payment experiences. Your payment experience is what they look for, which is why we're going to be talking about the profile. The profile is so important. The credit score just a book cover to to a good book that you're going to read. So you heard of the term never judge a book by its cover, right? You never want to judge someone based on the way they look. The aesthetics is appealing, but when you take away the layer and start peeling away the layer, it's like, ooh, this person's not so great after all, right? So we never want to judge a book by its cover. We want to know the person's character, and that's from the inside. So when we're talking about the credit score and the profile is what's inside of the credit score. So we don't want to judge by the credit score. And I want to tell everybody this. Don't ever be ashamed of where you are if your score is at a 4, 5, or 6, right? It is important that you have someone like myself that will analyze your credit profile and tell you exactly what it is that you need to do to get you to that perfect. And I'm talking about perfect based on profile, not the number, perfect 700, 800 credit score. And the profile needs to show some experience. So if we're going to go back to high school, or let's say back to college, there's a difference between a freshman with a 4.0 GPA, and there's a difference between a senior with a 4.0 GPA. If we're looking at positioning, not the GPA in itself, the GPA equals your credit score. We're looking at the person itself, freshman versus senior. Who qualifies to graduate? The senior, because the
Exactly.
senior has already gone through freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. They have experience. They've taken all their classes. They've done all their prerequisites. They've done their lab work. They've done their internship and all the hours that they needed to take to qualify to graduate with a 4.0 GPA. Right. So if we're looking at a freshman that's just getting into university or just getting into high school, and they say, well, I want to graduate. Okay, well, you don't qualify yet. You have not taken all your classes. So here's the difference. When we're saying there's a difference between someone with a 680 credit score that's been in the credit game for 6 years, and there's a difference between someone with a 720 credit score that just got into the game 6 months ago. So when we're talking about profile, the person with a 680 credit score and 6 years of good positive history is going to qualify for funding or premium credit cards than someone with a 720 credit score that only been in the credit game for 6 months.
No way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. Are you kidding me? Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Are you saying somebody with a lower credit score, but they have a better credit profile, will qualify for when they apply, they'll get the credit?
Yep. Yep.
Lord have
I see
mercy.
it all the time. I see it all the time. Yep.
Boy, oh boy. See, folks, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about the things that you know to be true. And we're going to expose how the bank's math ain't mathin'. They want you to do things a certain way that benefits them. Listen, credit guys, I have a friend of mine online because I don't know if he can come up and say anything, but his name is Walter. He's got the party hat on, Walter Hardy, and
I see Walter.
I'm going to see if he can come up. I'm going to invite him up because this will be the first time he's spoken on Clubhouse. So let me see if I can invite him up.
Welcome to
Now,
Clubhouse, Walter.
now, listen, some of these folks, you've heard me talk about me being a firefighter in Battle Creek, Michigan. And Walter he worked with me at the fire department. And I'm telling you, when I left the fire department, I had 17 years into the fire department. Credit goddess. 17 years in. And I left the fire department to start this business in 2007. Everybody there except Walter said I was crazy. You got 8 years to go to retirement. Do you know why Walter didn't say I was crazy? Because Walter reads books. And he's always asking about what book am I reading. He's reading some of those same books, and he understood that if you have a different mindset, you can live a much larger life. Walter, that microphone is on the lower right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and on mic and say something to the folks. How you doing this morning, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent, man. Excellent. So tell us, when do you remember those days when I left the department?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Yeah. Everybody in the department was like, what is he doing?
I had 8 years to go to retirement. Eight.
Yep, he was at the end.
Okay. And and listen, and this is not bragging. This is not bragging. All right. This is not bragging. Walter, I make more in a month now than I made at the department in a year.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing. And how do you do that? It's called service. But Walter, why didn't you have that same idea? Because what we're talking about is the bank's math ain't mathin'. What we're taught about finances and what everybody's hanging on to. You've been watching some of my videos. Your wife has been watching some of the videos. And are you understanding now that the bank's math ain't mathin'? What have you learned? Anything?
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to just mortgages and how mortgages are set up and designed, and never understood why I could go out and buy a $70,000 car, pay it off in 5 years, and be done. But if I went out and bought a $70,000 house, it took me 30 years to pay it off.
Lord have mercy.
And it was like, this makes zero sense. So in that space, it was interesting. Never knew why, never understood why, but always thought, hey, this makes no sense. How is this even possible? It's the same $70,000. It's not a different $70,000. It's the same 70. It's the same 100. It's the same 120. So the dollar amount wasn't different. How it was calculated is extremely different, which I never understood until the P.I.L.L method.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for coming to the stage. And Walter, you can hang out. You can hang out as long as you want. And folks, he's brand new on Clubhouse. He's been following us on Facebook, and I appreciate that. And go ahead and give Walter a follow. And Walter, listen, man, we want to make sure that you get a very good introduction to Clubhouse. And anytime you want to chime in, just say so, flash your mic. You have earned the right. I mean, this guy runs into buildings that are on fire when people are running out. Okay. So you have earned the right to speak today about anything you want to speak to. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for having me.
All right, folks, listen, we're going to go ahead and get started. That's my engineer in the background doing sound effects. Listen, man, we're going to be pushing it out there today. Rose, we're going to be talking about the bank's math ain't mathin'. And one of the things we're going to be talking about is interest cost versus interest rate. And right now, folks, I need you to kind of focus in on this thing right now, that we are supposed to be using money in the best way possible so that we can live our best lives. Period. That's why you go to work. That's why you pay bills. That's why you have an apartment. That's why you have a house. That's why you got a car. This is how you feed your family. And let me tell you something, folks. If money is supposed to be used for all of this, even the Bible says money answers all things. I got my pastor friend on here. He's listening. Okay. Kurt, I see you smiling over there. Okay. Money answers all things. If that is the truth, why then do God's people know so little about it? This is a crying shame. If you have something to say about what we're talking about today, please raise your hand, come to the stage, put some comments if you're watching us online, okay? Because right now, I want to show you something that most people are unaware of. Even Walter said, you can pay a $70,000 car off in 6 or 7 years, but it takes 30 years to pay off a $70,000 mortgage. Makes no sense to him until we start breaking it down here on the P.I.L.L method. Wow. That's a wow moment. All right. We're going to listen. Well, we might have to clip that and play that back and turn it into commercial. Are you going to require us to pay you for that?
No, it's all yours. It's all yours.
Oh boy. Oh, Lord have mercy. I remember the days, man. I remember the days. Okay. So listen, folks, I'm going to put something on the screen here so that you guys can see it. But before we do that, I need you to clue in to somebody who has found out okay, that the bank's math wasn't mathing for him. All right. He is the number one motivational speaker in the entire world. All right. Number one motivational speaker in the entire world. His name is Dr. Eric Thomas. And we had the pleasure of having him speak at an event last May. All right. And this is what he says about how the bank's math wasn't mathing. Let's play it.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Folks, listen, when we're at the fire department, we like to poke people. That was one of the terms we used back then, poking people. Now, Walter, how many people have said that my program would not work?
Oh, quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a few.
And listen, I'm not trying to be messy here, but when you have an opportunity to say, oh, but you know, the number one motivational speaker says that he used Don's program to pay off his mortgage. I mean, that's a serious poke, wouldn't it be?
Absolutely. Absolutely it would.
Listen, folks, not only that, Dr. Eric Thomas, we were able to give him, now he's now a New York Times bestselling author. All right. His latest book is UOU. We had an opportunity, my wife and I had an opportunity to hand him a signed copy of my book, put it in his hand. What a privilege that is. This book, okay, represents something very special because I grew up not knowing that I was ADHD, I did not know that I was autistic. All right. I did not know that. But to be able to write a book, I didn't even read a book all the way through until I was 46 years of age. And now we have a number one best-selling book on Amazon. You know, that had to be God, because it wasn't me, because I struggled in school. All right. I struggled in school. So when God gives you a message, you got to get it out there for people, and then you'll be supported. Can I give you an example? Maybe, just maybe, somebody that you admire. Let's just say you admire, President Obama. President Obama says, I need you to go speak to somebody. And he says, well, President Obama, they won't listen to me. You tell them, listen, let me give you a presidential seal. I'm going to put it on your lapel. So when you walk into the building, they're going to know I sent you. Now you walk in with your head up. And then when anybody gets in your way, and then they start not to listen to you, you just point at your lapel and they say, oh, sorry. Okay. I see who sent you. Folks, when you have a message and somebody sends you, it says, I've given you a message that nobody else has. When you read this book, out of 33 million titles, there is no other book on Amazon that talks about what we talk about. And a person that wrote it never read a book until he was 46. Never read a book all the way through, not even Cat in the Hat. And struggled in school, but now has a best-selling book 5 times. 5 times it's been a bestseller. How does that happen? The only way that happens is because you've been blessed. And I'm thankful to be able to do that. And now we're going to pass that information on to you. And we were able to help Dr. Eric Thomas with this program. And even, listen, I didn't even help him directly. It was somebody. You want to message? Oh, be quiet, shit, Siri. Siri's always trying to horn in on my messages here. So, folks, here's what we're talking about. I didn't even approach Dr. Eric Thomas personally. It was somebody I taught this to who contacted him. This was amazing. And when he mentioned it live at my event, that was a total shock. But folks, here's what we're saying. If you have a business, if you have something that is important to you, that you've been given a mission, follow through with it. Never stop, never give up, no matter what anybody says about it. So listen, if you want to be like Dr. Eric Thomas and know how to pay off your debt in record time, then go to ice10k.com. I'm going to put it at the top of the screen here. We're going to pin the link. All right. ice10k.com. There it is. And click that button that says get a savings and earnings report. Fill it out. Follow all of the directions. Fill it out. And once you fill it out, then someone from my staff will give you a call, confirm your information, and then you will know the month, day, and year you could be debt free. And also, they'll set up a consultation for you so that you can ask all of the questions that you need to ask. And then the most important thing, out of all the interest you save, our average client saves $100,000 to $150,000 in interest they never have to pay. We're going to get the bank. We're going to show you how to use the interest that the bank was overcharging you. We're going to show you how to use a small percentage of that to pay for your lifetime program. Money you were supposed to pay the bank, you're now investing in your family so that you don't have to pay the bank all of that money. And the money you didn't pay the bank, we're going to talk to you about how to invest that money as well, because we have a whole investment department with the P.I.L.L method now that is part and parcel of the program. It's not just debt reduction, it's wealth creation at the same time. The bank's math ain't mathin', folks. It's not getting you where you want to go. How do I know? Because 9 out of 10 people you know will never pay off a mortgage. I need you all to go ahead and share this room. Go ahead and share the room, get it out there, and let's get into this thing. The bank's math ain't mathin'. I'm going to put something on the screen here. Let me see here. Let me get down to where this is. I'm going to show you something that is absolutely crazy. All right. Now let's go ahead and share this screen. Boom, there it is. And if you don't see this, all right. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me stop this. I need to switch screens here. I need to put this over here. I'm running 4 screens, folks, and so I can see everything. All right. And now we're going to run it. There we go. All right, Kurt, we can put it up now. All right, folks, here's what we're talking about. Here's one thing I want to show you. All right. Right now, interest rates are at 7%. And if you want to ask me about this later, you can. Just make a note. This loan here, $500,000 at 3%. Right now, the interest rates are right around 7%. Would you believe that if you can afford this payment at 7%, the loan is going to be easier to pay off faster, and you can save more money in interest at the 7% interest rate? Okay. When you have a 3% interest rate, the loan is harder to pay off cheaper and faster. Oh, you want to ask me about that? If anybody asks me about that, I will go into that today. We've gone over that in other videos, but here's what I want to show you today. You have a 5%, $500,000 mortgage, and everybody you know is talking about getting the lowest interest rate possible. They wish they could get this 3% interest rate, but let me tell you what's happening. Here's how much interest the bank wants you to pay on a $500,000 loan. $258,887.20. Folks, does that look like 3% to you? I need you to put it in the chat. I need you to put it in the chat right now. If you think that $258,000 is 3% of $500,000, yes or no? Okay. Is that something you want to pay? Do you want to pay that? Come on. So when you add it all together, the bank wants you to pay them. Oh, the T.I. says, Miss Johnson says no, with several no's. All right. Miss Brooks says, no, sir, it's not. No, sir, it's not. It's not 3%. It's not 3%. When the bank wants you to pay back $758,000, okay, to buy a house that's worth $500,000. Okay. Now your $500,000 house really is $750,000. That makes the amount of interest that you pay 51% of what you borrowed. O'Neill online, he's watching us on YouTube. He says, no, that ain't right. All right. That ain't right. That ain't right. 51.77%. All 3% loans for 30 years are 51% mortgages. All of them. All of them. And listen, the bank's math ain't mathin'. It ain't mathin' because if you can get that if you got it at 4%, you're still feeling pretty good about it until you really focus in on the fact that now the bank wants you to pay back $359,348. How do I know? How do I know that most people will pay this much interest and more? Because of the first stat I gave you. I need you to think about this. How many people do you know? I'm looking straight into the camera now. How many people do you know that have had a mortgage and actually paid it off? How many? It'll be less than 10% of the people you know. Period. We have thousands upon thousands of people who have paid off their mortgage because they understand how not to pay all of this interest that the bank is overcharging, and they've been doing it since 1934. This year is the 89th anniversary of the amortized 30-year mortgage. Boom, that part. Look at this. If it's 5%, now the bank wants you to pay $466,000. $466,000. That's 93% of what you borrow. How in the world does the bank go from 5% to 93%? What kind of math are they doing? Okay, what kind of math are they doing that they could take a 5% loan and turn it into 93%? And if it's 6%, Lord have mercy. Now you're going to pay back more in interest. Christina Ward says another house better come with that interest. She said, if I'm going to pay all that, you better. Miss Christina said, you better give me another house if I want to give you all that interest money. Come on now. Listen, $579,000 in interest at 6% on a $500,000 house. Now your house, a $500,000 house in a $500,000 neighborhood, the bank wants you to pay $1,079,000 for it. Does anybody want to pay $1 million for a $500,000 house? This is exactly why the bank's math ain't mathin'. And we're going to show you. I am actually going to show you in just a couple of minutes after I do this, because this is where the interest rates are now. The interest rates are here now at 7%. What? $697,543.60 interest on a $500,000 loan. 139.5%. 139.5%. Man. And listen, it's legal. It's legal. And it's okay because we allow it to be okay. And and why is that okay? Because we have not been taught how a mortgage or a student loan or a card or a car loan, we have not been taught how they work in school. Now, we have not been taught. I'm going to take this off the screen now. I'm going to show you if I can get some number 9s in the chat and online. If I can get some number 9s in the chat and online, I will show you today how the bank turns a small interest rate into giving them big money. I got to get some number 9s in the chat though, because I need to know how many people are actually listening. Go put some online in the comment section, or if you're in Clubhouse, go ahead, put some number 9s in the chat, and I'll show you the math on how this is done. If you're new to the room, and you want to see this, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method, and you'll be able to see this online. Or you can go to Facebook if you want, or Twitter, or LinkedIn. All right. So listen, I'm going to put this on the screen right now. We may come back to here, but I need you to understand that the bank's math ain't mathin', and we're in the financial situation we're in today because we're following the advice of the financial experts. It's not because you've been irresponsible with money. Don't let them put that on you. It is not because you're not doing it right. Don't let them put that on you. You're in the financial situation you're now in because you're following best practices given to you from the financial community. And when you follow that advice, it's not getting you where you want to go. It may make you feel better for a little while, but it's not getting you anywhere close to where you need to be, paying off the debt. It doesn't do that. Refinancing doesn't do that. I'm going to show you what's going on with these loans right now. We're going to put this down here, and we're going to put an amortization schedule on the screen right about now so that you can see how the bank's math ain't mathin'. We're going to put a $200,000 mortgage online, 6%. Okay, $200,000 mortgage at 6%, and boom, there we go. And now a payment is $11.99.10. $11.99.10. Let me make this just a tiny bit bigger. How about that? Okay, so boom, we're gonna make that just a little bit bigger so you can see the numbers really well. Now, here's what happens when you make that very first payment. Oh, well, let's look at the summary. Let's look at the summary. And most people kind of overlook this altogether. I'm borrowing $200,000. At the closing table, they must disclose to you how much interest you're supposed to pay, $231,676. And listen, they may say a little something about, don't worry about it. You can pay extra. You can do a biweekly payment. But what they don't tell you at the closing table is how all of that works. What they don't tell you at the closing table is that you can literally, with the budget that you qualified with this loan, the budget that you're using to qualify for this loan, and they want you to take 30 years, you can actually pay this loan off in about 7 years and live well while you're doing it and increase your savings. What? Pay it off in 7 and increase your savings at the same time? Listen, how without making any more money? Yes, without making any more money. Why? Because they're overcharging you in the first place because of how they do the math. 6% ain't 6%. Listen, I need you all to listen. If you want to say something about this, raise your hand, come to the stage, and we're going to get to it. Okay. So I need you to take a look at this, and we're going to break it down. How many people deserve to know how loans really work? How many people? How many here deserve how to know that you deserve to know how this works? I'm going to break it down. We're going to put a calculator on the screen. When we make Oh, okay. Miss Brooks says me. Okay, she wants to know. All right, now all I need you to do. Okay, now if you say a bad word at home, we can't hear it. Okay, I'm going to show you what the bank is doing here, but you can't put any bad words in the chat. Well, maybe one or two, maybe some soft ones. So Ryan Scott says, I want to know. All right. And Miss Birdsong watching us online from YouTube, she says, I want to know. Let's show you how we do that. Now, this is going to be crazy. When you make that first payment of $11.99.10, okay? Okay, Rhonda Hall wants to know, where can I see? Rhonda, if you have a secondary device like your computer or your laptop or maybe an iPad or some kind of tablet, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method, and you can see this while we're doing. Just turn down the volume on your other device, and then you won't get confused because there's a little delay when you watch us online than when you hear us here. So I hope that helps. Okay. So Miss Rhonda Hall. Now, if you're driving, Rhonda, probably can't. Or if you're at work, this is all going to be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can catch the replay if you can't see it now. All right. But if you can, great. All right, folks, here's what we're doing. Right now, you're going to see that when you make this payment, only $199.10 of your money goes to principal. Only $199.10 goes to principal. You're welcome, Miss Rhonda Hall. All right. She's heading over to YouTube. And $1,000 goes to interest. How many think that that's right? Does that seem right to you? You're working hard. You're making a payment of $1,199.10. Now, this is just the principal and interest. We're not talking about the taxes and insurance. We're just talking about the principal and interest. 1,000 of your dollars goes to principal, or goes to interest. Here's the first part of the math ain't mathin' today. The bank's math ain't mathin'. Let me show you. When you know how much interest you pay, you put the interest amount in your calculator. Then you divide it by the entire payment. Okay. So now you're going to divide it by $1,199.10. The number you get is 83.3. You know what that means? That means 83% of your payment is interest. 83. This is why the bank's math ain't mathin', folks. 83% of your payment is interest. Can I break that down even further? Because, when you talk to the economists will break it down this way and tell you that when you're talking about your payment dollar, here's your payment dollar with your housing dollar. Out of your housing dollar at this point, just $1, 83 cents of that dollar goes to pay interest. And only 17 cents out of that dollar buys your house. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. I'm at your door. I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to let you know that you don't have to do this. I'm trying to get into your house, into your head, that this is what's going on. It's been going on for 83 years. I'm sorry, 89 years. 89 years. People need to know. You deserve to know. And listen, I'm going to, T. Johnson says that should be illegal. We're 83 cents out of your every dollar. Okay. Rhonda Hall says, I'm here. Come on, girlfriend. She can see it. She can see it. And 17 cents is paying for your mortgage. That is crazy. Folks, do you believe, Ryan Scott says, how do we change that? Okay. Listen, after I finish this, Ryan, I'm going to show you how you can beat the bank at their own game. Okay. I'm going to show you how to beat the bank at their own game. I promise you, I will not leave you hanging. Watch this though. All right. So now, how do they get 6% to be 115.838%. How do they do that? I'm going to put the math here on the screen for you. I closed it out. Let's bring it back. Bring back my calculator. Come on, calculator. Where are you? There you are. Boom. So now here's how we do it. What you do first is you take your 6% interest rate. Okay. All right. Brooks says that's how they're making money. Listen, that is extreme profit, Miss Brooks. Extreme profit. Okay. But there's a weakness in their system. I need you to remind me to show you the weakness in the system. You right now you think their system is invincible, but it's not. This is why there's no education on it. Do you realize that the person who sold you your mortgage doesn't take a class on how mortgages work? The banks don't teach their employees how this works because they don't want it to get out and for you to find out. Because once you know, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it once you know. Watch this. So we're going to put in 6%. That is 0.06 into the calculator. We're going to divide it by 12. So whatever the interest rate is, divide it by 12. So we're going to divide that by 12. And this is what we get, 0.005. Then you take this number and multiply it by the unpaid balance. So we made our first payment. We now owe $199,800.90. Okay, $199,800.90. So we're going to take the 0.005 and multiply it by the unpaid balance. So when we multiply it times $199,800.90, like that. And we get $999. That's how they figure out the interest. They take 1/12 of the interest rate and multiply it by the unpaid balance 360 times. So it's not one mortgage. You thought you were getting one mortgage. No, folks. Every single month you get a brand new mortgage and they charge you for it. So you have 360 mortgages, not one. Tell me listen, I need put something in the chat. Is this the first time you've ever heard that? Listen, they're not teaching this in school. If you're a real estate agent, do you realize that every real estate agent in here that's listening to me, to get their license, they didn't get this in their classes. All right. Listen, Ryan Scott says, yeah. Okay. So Ryan Scott says, I'm a realtor. Ryan Scott says, I'm a realtor and I didn't know this. They don't teach this, Ryan. That's why the bank's math ain't mathin'. We need to tell your clients this. I'm going to stop right here. Because I've got real estate agents in here. I got mortgage professionals here. I got people who want to do well for their clients. Now, we're going to show you how you can do well for your clients. Go to that link above. Go to the link above. And you'll find that you can sign up to be a P.I.L.L Method affiliate for free. If you want, listen, you could be, if you're a real estate agent, all right, you could literally start advertising today. Work with me and let us show you how to pay off your mortgages in 7 to 9 years, between 7 and 9 years on average. You can literally start advertising that today. So when you've got your folks that you're working with, then sign up to be an affiliate. Send your people over to the P.I.L.L Method channel on YouTube. Let them watch some videos and follow up with them in a day or two, no more than 48 hours. When you follow up with them and ask them, do they want to know more? Because you are already registered as an affiliate for free, and you just need to listen. Let me put that on the screen. I'm going to stop talking about it. Let me put it on the screen. I'm going to put it on the screen for you so you can see it. All right. All right, that is icnk.com. All right, I'm putting it on the screen now. It says here, become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. It's right there. Become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method. All right, you click on that. It's the very first button, and then you fill it. You just fill it out. Put in your name, your phone number, and your email address. And this one here, let me blow this one up. Okay, let me blow it up. How would you like to receive your affiliate payments? Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal. It's right there. So how do we do? Listen, okay, all right, you better stop that. Somebody just filled that out already. Someone filled it out already. All right, you better stop that. Okay, just putting that in there. I love it. I love it. So, folks, here's what you do. When you do that, got another one. Oh, Lord have mercy. They're just coming in here. All right, so here's what you do, folks. Once you fill that out, now you're going to be registered with us. We're bringing on a new person just to handle the affiliate part of our business now. We're bringing on a new admin just to handle this part, meeting with them today. Okay. So once they fill that part out, okay, now what do we do? What do we do next? Okay. We go back. I'm going to go back here. And if your person is still interested in the program after they watch some videos, then you fill this part out. Go over to this other button, refer your family and friends to the interest cancellation expert. That's me, the only interest cancellation expert online. Okay. All right. The only P.I.L.L method interest cancellation expert anywhere. Here we go. Full name. Here's what you fill out. Put their name in, their phone number, their email, their zip code. Why do we put the zip code in? So our staff will know when to call. You can't always tell by the phone number anymore, okay? Because the phone numbers just go all over the country. So put in the zip code so we'll know when to call. Put in who referred them. Put in your name right here. Put your name in right here, okay? And then give us any additional information. Best time to call. How do you know them? Is this a friend? Is this a family? Is there any special circumstances? Just give us a little bit. All right. We're going to call them on your behalf. When they become a client, we will send you $300. If you're a real estate agent, oh my gosh. All right. If you're a real estate agent, we're understanding RESPA laws. Okay. So we'll send it to your LLC. We'll send it to somebody else that you want to, because you can't receive money from us legally if you are a real estate agent, and we know that. Set it up so that we can send it to someone else for you, and then you will still be able to participate. But the main thing is, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a loan officer, you can separate yourself from the rest of the pack, because when they work with you, they'll be able to pay off their house in 7 to 9 years. And guess what? When most people pay their house off that early and they're working with us, guess what they do? They put a renter in that house and buy another house. And when they're going to buy another house, Ryan, who are they going to come to buy that second house? Come on, talk to me. How do we get, he says, me? Of course they're going to come to you, my brother. They're going to come to you to get that. All right. So you're asking another question. How do we get content to promote on our socials? Listen, if you want to, when you're signing up, contact us, and we'll also talk about how you can license our information so that you can promote it on your socials, because it has to go out a certain way. Okay. When this goes out, when the P.I.L.L method name goes out, it has to go out a certain way, because if it doesn't, we are responsible for how people perceive it, even when you send it out. So we have to talk about how all of that happens. And it's too much to talk about here. But yeah, if you want to do that, we can do that. Okay. Miss Birdsong says, yes, this is the first time hearing this. So folks, that's how you're going to be able to help people. Let's get back to this thing now. Let's get back to this thing. So we are talking about, we just showed how the bank is making all of that money. Every time they charge interest, here, we're putting it back on the screen, and it is every single month because it's a brand new mortgage every month. So I promised Ryan, says, what can we do about it? All right, Ryan, and listen, if people want to know how to beat the bank at their own game, all right, I need to see number 8s in the chat or online. Listen, as soon as I see some number 8s, and also share the room. Okay, share the room, and if you're online, share it to your social media people who are following you. And here's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to show you how to beat the bank at their own game. You can, while you're sharing the room and putting your number 8s in, okay, we're going to show you how to beat the bank at their own game, because we're going to expose the weakness in their system. What I am not showing you is the P.I.L.L method. Okay, this is not. I'm giving you the basics of what we do. Please don't think that what I'm getting ready to show you is how we work for our clients, because it's not. We have a computer system that understands the bank's computing system so that you can give them back their money in a way which makes it impossible for them to charge you all of that interest. It's not just saving some interest, throwing any amount of money at the bank. You want to save as much money as you possibly can per dollar. Did you see where we showed that for every housing dollar, the bank on this loan is getting 83 cents out of that dollar, and you're only getting 17 cents? Yeah. We want to switch that around for you. And when we put our computers to work for you, we guarantee, I need you to hear this because I just did a show on guarantees. We will guarantee that we will save you more money in interest than any other program on the planet, or you don't pay. We will guarantee your results. The only program that like this anywhere that will guarantee your results if you follow our program. Watch this, folks. Watch this. So here's what we're looking at. On payment number one, $199.10. Let's say it's this month, January, $199.10 goes to principal, $1,000 goes to interest. We subtract the $199.10 from what we owe, we're left with $199,800.90. We've already showed you what the bank does with the principal balance to figure out how much interest you pay on the next line. Your principal balance determines how much interest you pay on the next line, no matter where you are. I'm going to show you how to manipulate the principal balance. Here's how you do it. It is so simple. It boggles the mind. And this is why the banks don't want you to know how it's done. The next mortgage payment for February, we're still in January now. We just made our mortgage payment for January. We're still in January, and we can take a look at this schedule, and we can see that February's principal payment is $200.10. Corinne, I didn't see you there, sweetie. We're going to come to talk to you in just a minute. All right. We got $200. We got $200.10 going to principal. All right. Now, here's my question. If you're in January and you know that you're going to pay $200.10 principal in February, do you have to wait till February to give the bank that money? Okay. Do you have to wait till February to give the bank that money? All right. Anybody? Put it in there. Okay. All right. So Ryan, what we're going to show you is what you can do with this $200. You can pay it early. Pay it in. If you had it, you can actually give it to the bank in January. If you give it to the bank in January, because the bank's math ain't mathin', all right? Give it to the bank in January. You're paid down to line 2 in January, Ryan. Okay, Latanya. Okay, you're paid down to line 2 in January. And now this number is what the bank's computer sees at the end of the month, the $199,600.80. And this number gives them gives you the payment on the very next line, which would be line 3. So in February, your mortgage payment is on line 3. You just got rid of line 2 for $200.10, right? Did you know your mortgage worked like that? Do you see why now they don't teach this in school? All right. He says, man, that seems simple enough. You got that right. So Ryan, why, listen, let me see here. Ryan, can you come to the stage? Raise your hand if you can come to the stage. Because I'd like to talk to you because I'm looking for him in here. All right, there he is. Invite to speak. All right, Ryan, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. I'm sitting here with my mind blown for real.
You've never seen this?
Never at all, not once. But more than that, I don't really come from a lot of wealth building or ownership for that matter. And the people who do have property are still just paying the regular 30-year mortgage at the regular rate just because they don't know, they don't have access to this. So this is like blowing my mind, but it's also giving me motivation, right?
Excellent, man. So listen, I need you to work with me here. I need you to work with me. So are you also watching? You're watching this online as well, right? If you're talking, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Actually, right now I'm not watching. I'm in transit to the office, but
Okay.
I will be popping back on my iPad as soon as I get there.
All right. I'm gonna break it down to you. All right. So when you pay that $200.10 early, all right, you eliminate line 2 from the amortization schedule. It's gone. Your next mortgage payment is on line 3. The interest cost on line 2 is $999. What most people don't realize is that you just eliminated $999 worth of interest you never have to pay by giving the bank that $200.10 early. What do you say? What do you say to that?
That I fully understand why it's not taught, because if more people knew that, it would be less money for the banks. So
let me share a little bit something with you. If we add up all the principal payments for 1 year, okay, Miss Birdsong, let's see what you have to say. All right, Miss Birdsong says, before I go to this, she says, so how do you tell the bank to cancel line? Listen, you don't have to listen, Miss Birdsong. It's math. You know, the bank's math ain't mathin', but I'm telling you, the P.I.L.L method's math is mathin'. If you give them that $200.10, their computers can't do anything else but eliminate line 2. Boom. It's mathematical law. All right. And all we're doing is we are invoking mathematical law. When you give them that money, it makes it impossible for them to charge you that interest, and their computers automatically go to line 3. It is that simple. All right. So now, here's what we're talking about. All right. So in 1 year, I'm looking at cumulative principal here and cumulative interest, column 3 and column 4. So Ryan, in 1 year, you will pay this loan down, if you do it the bank's way, $2,456 and a penny, $2456.01. That's what you're doing. Okay. Guess how much interest they want in 1 year? $11,933.19.
Jesus.
So Ryan, let me ask you, if we already know that if we want to stay in the house, we got to give the bank back at least $2,456 and a penny. But here's my question to you. Do I have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments? What do you say?
Well, of course not. Of course not. You
Really?
don't have to if you have the.
Oh,
I mean, you don't have to. You can give it to them before that. Could you? I don't know. Tell me.
you mean I could give it to them on line 1?
I'm fumbling, but if you have the capital, could you or could
Yeah,
you not? Tell
you
me.
could. You could. If you gave it to them on line 1, does that mean they have to subtract it from the $200,000 that you owe? Does that mean you'd be paid down to line 12 on your amortization schedule in 1 month instead of 12 months?
Okay. So just to make sure I'm tracking with
Come
you,
on, track with
right?
me. Track with me.
You're still paying the original balance, right? Like is it 1,000 and how much was the original mortgage rate? 1,000 and
The regular mortgage payment?
$1,109.
Yep, it's $1,199.10. You pay your original. If you pay your mortgage payment on line 1, pay it on line 1, okay, and then add the rest of the money of the $2,456 and a penny you would pay over 12 months. You're paid down to line 12 on your amortization schedule in January. Okay. And then what happens to all those interest payments between line 2 and line 12? All of them. What happens to those?
They go away because you bypassed that, right?
You bypassed it. Do you see why they don't want you to know?
I definitely see why.
You know, by doing that, you know what? You just got the same amount of equity. Because you know when you pay down your mortgage this far, you know that's an extra $2,456 in equity, correct?
Correct.
You just got a discount of $10,944.42 in interest unpaid to get the same amount of equity.
Oh my God! If I could, if I could put an emoji in the chat with the mind blown, I would probably fill it up.
You can, man. You just just hold your put your finger on your face, and then all the emojis will pop up. Just hold your fingers and then choose one. Like this. Boom.
Man, this is crazy.
Just like that. All right. So that's what we're talking about. This is why we're trying to say, folks, that the bank's math ain't mathin'. The bank's math ain't mathin'. So we're trying to show you how you deserve to know better than what you've been taught all of these years. Okay. So Ryan, let me ask you another question. Right now, are people kind of concerned about the high interest rates, the 7%? When you're talking to them, do they mention that?
Which people are you talking about? People that are looking to buy, or people who are already in their homes
looking to buy?
Oh yeah, they are concerned, but I don't have those conversations because my direct rebuttal is if you're renting, what is the interest rate for the place you're staying in? Because whatever it is, you're paying 100% of it. It could be 20%, it could be 19%, it could be 11%. You don't know. So I don't have those kinds of conversations, but most people are fearful of interest rates.
Right. So here's what we're going to tell them. We're going to tell them if you got a 7% interest rate, and I'm going to put this on the screen so that you can actually show them this. Now, what I use as a tool for teaching, it is Brett Whistle's amortization calculator, BRETWHISSEL.net. Okay, Brett Whistle. And because I use it, I use that because we can add up cumulative principal and cumulative interest. People know how much they're paying and how much it costs at any stage of the game. Okay. All right. So if we do that, we can show them that if we have a 7% interest rate, what is everybody telling the people now? Go ahead and marry the house, but date the rate, meaning when the interest rates go down, refinance. Is that what we're telling them?
That's what the mortgage lenders are telling them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you like to know that that's a bad move? Would you like to?
They're even offering free loan origination fees. So tell me why that's a bad move.
Now, I need y'all to remember this, folks. Anything that the bank offers you, it is almost a guarantee to do the opposite. Almost a guarantee every single time. That's why you want to talk to my team here at the P.I.L.L method. Okay. I'm going to show you this right now. Now, so Ryan, I'm going to change this to 7%. Okay. 7% interest. We're going to do it all over again. Same $200,000 mortgage at 7%. All right. And now, when I make my first payment, $163.93 goes to principal, and $1,166.67 goes to interest. That's a lot of money. All right. But I need you to see at the higher interest rate how small the principal payment is. Okay. And I need you to follow me there. So the next month, the principal payment is $164. So what you've just learned is that if I prepay the $164.89, I get rid of line 2. Do you remember that part?
I do.
Okay, now here's what we're also telling the people right now. For those of you that are being told you can refinance later to a lower interest rate, or you can actually buy down the rate, pay what, $11,000, $17,000, buy it down to 5%. Are we talking? Listen, is that a conversation folks are having, Mr. Ryan?
It is, and the the sellers are doing buy downs for buyers right now.
Ooh wee. Okay. Listen, listen, Mr. Ryan, here's what you're going to tell your client. Okay. Give me that $11,000. Don't buy down the rate. Just give me the money. I'm going to show you why. Okay. Now, here's what, remind me of that. Okay. Don't buy down my rate.
Oh, I see where you're going. Oh, I see where you're going. I see where you're going. Oh, I see where you're going.
Come on. All right. So now I got $164 here, right? And all I have to do is come up with $164 to eliminate one line on my amortization schedule. If I take this down, let me duplicate this tab. All right. If I change it, if I refinance or I buy down the rate to 5%, all right, I need you to take a look at my principal payment now. It's $241 to get rid of one line. Because every time you lower the rate, it increases the principal payment. We use the principal payment to attack the loan, don't we, Ryan?
We do.
So if at 7%, my principal payment is $164, I just need to come up with $164 to get rid of one line. At 5%, now I got to come up with $241. Watch this, Ryan. Watch this. Remember, at 7%, $2,031 knocks out 12 payments. If I can prepay the $2,031.55, I eliminate 12 payments I never have to make on this loan at 7%. At 5%, I got to come up with nearly $3,000 to do the same thing. I got to come up with $2,950.68. So tell me, Mr. Ryan, is it harder to pay the loan off faster at the higher interest rate or at the lower one?
See, that's just another reason why we don't have interest rate conversations. Now I got a whole arsenal of new approaches to that same conversation.
So, Mr. Ryan, if the seller says, I will buy down the rate for you, all right? And I come in there and I said, no, give me that $11,000, please. Okay, give me the $11,000. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the higher interest rate at 7%, And when I scroll down here, and I'm going to apply my $11,000 that my seller just gave me to make this deal happen, do you realize that $11,000 takes off 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, almost 5 years? Okay, it takes off 57 payments I never have to make. That $11,000. And guess what else? Guess how much interest I just eliminated, Ryan? $63,693.33.
What in the world?
Why would I ever let them buy down the rate for me, make it harder for me to pay off the loan when you could just give me that 11 grand? I'll apply it to principal and knock off nearly 5 years off this loan. Lord have mercy. Mr. Ryan, are you glad you showed up here today?
Man, you don't even know. Okay, so I found you because you were in another room, I think, and one of the moderators was like, if you're not following the people that's on the stage, then what are you doing? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. So I just kind of followed a bunch of people, and you were there. And this is the first time I've ever been in a room with you, but I've only been on Clubhouse. This is going on my second week. And this was the most impactful room. Other than the Tax D Wolf, I got a lot of good stuff from him, but this room right here, I done shared it on my socials. I've shared it on Clubhouse. Man, it's a total game changer.
Well, thank you.
Do you know how many people I know right now that are in houses, that are serial savers, that are just sitting on money in their accounts right now, but still paying that mortgage rate the regular way the bank has it structured? If they knew stuff like this, I don't think they would be as stressed out as they are sometimes.
I got you, man. I got you. Listen, I understand exactly what you're talking about. And you're right. If they only knew how, if the bank's math wasn't mathing, how do we turn this whole thing around so that we can help our people do much better using math, not magic? All right, I got Coffee Brown in here right now. So, Miss Coffee, how are you doing this morning?
John, I see you are at it again, up in here preaching, got the saints clapping, folks excited. I am doing amazing and grateful to be in your presence this morning. Don, you are so incredible. How you doing, champ?
Listen, I'm doing this thing. I can't help it. It's like, you know, the Bible says it's like fire shut up in my bones.
I swear I feel like a deacon right now. I swear.
So, Don, thank you. So excited to be in the building with you. Thank you for all that you do. It's just every time I come in, it's never a time where I'm not like, wow. Yesterday, interestingly enough, somebody was encouraging, the behavior of refinancing. I told them the devil is a hot lot in hell, and I shared with them you and the wisdom and expertise that you have. And I told them, you need to get on YouTube and follow this incredible being and get your life right, because ain't nobody refinancing jack, okay? So, I'm singing your praises over here in these Texas streets, and I appreciate you, my friend.
Oh my goodness. I love it. So Miss Ira, this is here. I can't pronounce your first names, Miss Birdsong, so I'm not going to try to butcher it. She's asking, how do I come on board to partnership with the P.I.L.L method? All right, go to ICE. I'm putting it in the chat. ICE10K.com. All right, I'm putting it in there for you. Go to ice10k.com, and there's going to be a button at the top left. Sign up to be an affiliate for free. You can sign up to be an affiliate for free. All right, so you do that for free, and then you're going to be good to go. And then we can start having conversations about how we can partner. If you have debt, then you want to become a product of the product, Miss Birdsong, and so that you can now pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years without sacrificing lifestyle and without having to make more money. And we just heard about us serial savers, and how they can use that cash. Mr. Ryan, you got some folks that have people that have money sitting in a bank account making 0.1%.
Listen, and they are, I know some people that are so serious about the saving that they are self-deprivating in the same process. Like we'll wear the same undergarments for 10 years to make sure that the bottom line in that account shows a balance that's bigger than what it was last year.
Wow.
But to me, I'm I'm different in the fact that the people that are most often around me are not as eager to develop in these types of ways. So I have stock portfolios and all different types of things. I mean, I'm even starting to invest in real estate and all of that. But to get people to see that putting that money in that savings account for that 0.1% interest that you're going to get over however long is not going to make you rich, wealthy, or even financially free at all. But to get the people that I've come in contact with, I won't say everybody, but to get the people that look like me that I've come in contact with to change their mental space about things like this is kind of like pulling teeth. So I'm one that is on a search of elevation, right? And this is one of the components I see that could elevate us to a level of freedom financially. So,
well,
you got my vote. I already followed you on Instagram. I'm an affiliate on the website already. It's already on go.
How
often is this room displayed?
Listen, that's a good question, folks. We're here 3 times a week. We're here Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So we're going to be right back here on Friday with a brand new subject. So that's when we're up and running. And listen, folks, we're helping people not just in the U.S., but in 9 countries total right now. And we're adding countries as we speak. So we want you to know this. All right. We want you to know this as you're learning this, I heard, Mr. Ryan, that you like investing.
Of course I do.
Okay. What's a good return on your money? What would you consider a good percentage return on money year over year?
That I don't really know.
Okay. What would you?
I haven't.
What would you like to make? Give me a number. What would you like to make?
I would like to make at least a 20% return on my investment. Just at least, at the very, very, very least.
Gotcha.
Whatever the investment is, a 20% return.
Now you're talking about real estate now. Okay. I like that 20%. How would you like to make 200 or 300%?
Listen, in one of my businesses, one of the products that we sell is a 200% markup. But tell me how with real estate.
Oh, tell you how with real estate? Okay, let me show you how. Okay. All right. So one of your clients has some money, all right, in the bank. All right. And give me a number and I'll tell you if they invest that number in their mortgage, like prepay it, I'll tell you what the return on investment is. Give me a number.
I know one person right now has $17,000 sitting in a savings account.
$17,000. How much of that do you want to invest? Give me a part of that 17,000.
Let's just say 10,000.
$10,000.
I don't know. This person is.
I like it.
Is very, very crazy.
I like this. Here's what you can show your people. Have them pull up their bank statement and say, how much interest did you make last month on your $17,000? Let them show you that. Let them show you those pennies. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So now we're going to take 10,000 and they'll still have 17,000, right? So let's say they have
7,000.
They have 7,000. Let's just say that they have this $200,000 mortgage at 7% that I have up here. All right. If they put that $10,000 down on this loan, okay, it knocks off, here's 5 years. Okay. It knocks off 4.5 years. Okay. So it knocks off 53 payments on their mortgage they never have to make. Guess how much interest they just saved? $59,266.04.
With just $10,000.
Yep, just $10,000. Now, here's what I need you to understand. When a penny saved is a penny earned. So $59,000 saved is $59,000 earned. Okay.
Because you never have to pay that you were going to pay originally.
Come on, brother. That's what we're talking about. I'm putting my calculator back on the screen. Okay. So $10,000. So I'm putting 59,000. Okay. $59,266.04. That's my return on my investment. $59,000 in interest I don't have to pay. All right. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
So I got the same equity at $59,000 cheaper, haven't I?
That you have.
Because if I do it the bank's way, they want to charge me $59,000 to get my $10,000 equity. And listen, I feel like I cut a fat hog in you know what when I do that. I got $10,000 equity, but I'm not looking at how much interest I paid. That's why the bank's math ain't mathin'. Right? So I got my $59,000 in interest I didn't have to pay, but I invested $10,000. So on this schedule, we're going to divide it by a full $10,146.99 equals that is now you move the decimal over two places. That is a return of 584%.
That's unrealistic. Like
584% return on your money. Now, what happens, Mr. Ryan, with the $64,000 I didn't pay? Let me break it down to you this way. You take your wife. Are you married?
I am.
Okay, you take your wife out to dinner, go to a nice restaurant, and listen, you're celebrating, and the entire bill comes to $400. Okay, and listen, the ambiance, the company, everything was just great, and you're only too willing to pay the $400. But here comes a friend of yours that says, "Listen, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, by the way, I already talked to the wait staff. I paid your bill for you." You got a great dinner. You got a great dinner. Good time with the wife. It was something. You got pictures and everything, and you didn't have to pay for it. Here's my question to you: what do you do now with the $400 you intended to spend?
You put that back on that mortgage.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Most of us don't think about investing that money. We only think about spending it somewhere else. So,
because we are serial consumers, you know that.
Ooh, serial consumers. Come on, clip it, everybody. Clip it. So here's what we're saying. If you can save that that $59,000, okay, and you got the same equity, you were going to spend that. What if you could take that $59,000 now over time and invest it in real estate? That's money you would have had to spend, but you didn't have to spend it.
Now you on my street. Now you walking right down my street.
Come on,
that's
man.
What's up.
That's what's up. And listen, by doing this, even a person working a W-2 job like I did, like Walter here is, working a W-2 job, if they start out young enough, they can turn that money that they didn't have to pay in interest to over $1 million in additional assets. Increase your net worth by over $1 million investing interest money you did not have to pay. Lord have mercy.
Game changer.
Listen, would you like to have that kind of conversations with your clients?
Oh yeah, that's already going to be implemented. I'm just trying to figure out ways to put that in my scripts so I can start rehearsing it so it comes off effortlessly.
There you go, my brother. We've been doing this a long time. So listen, folks, if anybody else is out there wants to know why the bank's math ain't mathin', I'm telling you, the bank's math ain't mathin', folks. We're doing this thing, letting people know what is happening so that you can turn this into money for yourself. All right. So listen, does anybody have any questions? Coffee, Credit Goddess, Walter, Ryan, Do you have any questions for us right about now so we can cover these things for the people?
I'm actually good right now.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, my brother. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Hang out for a little while longer. We're going to go over a couple of other things here. You know, we only have about 29 minutes left in here, and we're going to show you how the bank's math ain't mathin'. You do not want to refinance. We already showed that. All right. If you can afford the payment, you're better off attacking this loan with the smaller principal payments. Okay, you're better off there. All right. The other thing is what we want to do, folks, is show you about refinancing. If you were to refinance to this lower interest rate, I'm going to give you one other idea how the bank's math ain't mathin'. Does anybody know what the average closing costs are on a refinance? The average closing costs on a refi. All right, average closing costs on a refi somewhere between, I don't know, 8 and 10,000. I've seen it as high as 17,000.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I couldn't even get my phone unmuted.
All right, hold on for just a second. All right, somebody's trying to contact me. And we're going to talk about it here in just a minute. And set an appointment. Somebody wants to set an appointment with me. And appointment. There we go. Now, here's what we're doing, folks. We're going to show you what happens when you refinance. When you refinance this loan, okay, we're going from the 7%, we're going down to the 5%, okay? We're going to go down to the 5. We're happy with that. Let's say this refinance cost us $10,000. So we're down to 190,000. We're down to 190,000, and we're going to pay $10,000 for this refinance to get us down to 5%. All right. Now we owe 200,000 again, and now we want to pay back that $10,000. We have to pay back that $10,000, Ryan, to get back down to the $190,000 where we were when we refinanced, right, sir?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Do you realize that even at this lower interest rate, it takes 39 months to pay back that first $10,000
That's crazy.
that you just rolled in? Guess how much interest I paid on that? $31,718.48. The bank's math ain't mathin'. The bank's math ain't mathin'. I'm rolling in $10,000 to get a lower interest rate so I can get a lower payment, and I feel good about it. But the $10,000 I rolled in, I'm not realizing I'm borrowing at 5% amortized, which means when I pay back the $10,000 over 39 months, I'm going to pay the bank $31,000 in interest for that. Mr. Ryan, if you borrow $1 from,
Yes, sir.
if you borrow $1 from me, okay, if you borrow $1 from me, and I say pay me back tomorrow, but give me $1 in interest, what interest rate is that?
Isn't that
100%?
I was about to say,
Isn't that 100%? So
yeah, when you're getting this exact same amount you invested, yeah.
yeah, if I borrow $10,000 and I pay $10,000 in interest, isn't that 100%?
Mm-hmm. But you're paying 30.
But I'm paying 30. So if it's 20,000, what interest rate is that?
That's 200.
If I'm paying 30, what interest rate is that?
That's 300.
People with perfect credit are often fooled into paying 300% interest on loans when they refinance, and they don't even realize it. The bank's math ain't mathin' for us. It's certainly mathin' for them, but it ain't mathin' for us.
Lord, you're gonna get me put out of my office as a realtor.
Miss Crystal, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. I'm having such a good time here. Listen, we're only 11 days into this new year, and I'm having such a good time sharing this information about how the bank's math ain't mathin'. People need to know, and you realize people need to know, and you even tell people about what we're doing. But first, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right, I'll be brief today because I am running out the door to go meet somebody to do just what you're about to ask me about. But good morning, everyone. I'm Crystal Armstrong, and I'm an independent licensed escrow officer in the state of Texas. And I do sit with people as we're talking about the P.I.L.L method. And sometimes many people do realize the math isn't mathing, but it's their best option given the amount of debt that they're in. It's usually credit card debt in this current climate, and people are looking to consolidate, and so they see the interest rate, even though it's higher than it's traditionally been, it's lower than those credit card interest rates. So a lot of people are opting to consolidate and try to roll that into one monthly payment, which is a lot more manageable than trying to remember to pay 5 or 10 or sometimes I've seen 40 credit cards on a closing disclosure recently. So that is what I do on a daily. I also review for compliance. That's a part of being an escrow officer, and I'm a disinterested third party between both the borrowers and the lenders. So thank you.
You are so welcome, and thank you for being here. And I appreciate you so much, Crystal. Coffee and Credit Goddess. Credit Goddess, I know you're working on some stuff there. Are you able to, if you're able to speak, go ahead and flash your mic. Got a question for you. But Mr. Wright, I thank you for being here. These conversations are so impactful and so helpful going into when we're trying to get this message out. Credit Goddess, in this new year, what do you hope? What do you hope people will be able to see with their credit that they will understand better because the bank's math ain't math? And what do you want people to know most going into this new year?
Oh, did you know that medical debt will no longer report on your credit starting this year?
No,
Now,
I did not.
yes, yes. So, so 2017, they did pass a law where before they report medical debt on your credit report, they had to wait 6 months. That was June of 2017. And then they just passed and they just changed it last year, June, where they have to now wait a year before they post, any past due payments on medical debt, right? So, because they have to let the insurance take, because like when I dispute medical debt, I'll say something like I had insurance. So what the credit reporting agency is supposed to do is verify that you did have insurance, and if they can't verify you had insurance in a timely manner, they remove medical debts. And medical debt is easy when you use that. Like if you had insurance and they just posted on your credit and they didn't give it time to take before they posted it, that's one way to get it off your credit. Now, um, if the debt is under $500, they will not report it at all. So if any of you guys have medical debt that is under $500, you will find when you check your credit report that medical debt is gone off your credit. Now, if you paid off your medical debt, and that started that was last year in June. If you paid off your medical debt, it will be gone. Okay? So it would not report on your credit if you've paid it. Now, if you have debt over $500, they have to wait a year before they put it on your credit. So that way it gives you time to get the insurance kicking in. It gives you time to pay it off. But if you have not paid it off and it's been over a year and it's over $500, that's when it will report. So any of you guys that have medical debt that is under $500, if you check your credit report, you would no longer see that medical debt on your credit report. And it will no longer report if it's under $500. So that's a new thing that
Wow,
just wrote around.
that is.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
and this is to the credit goddess. So correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are uninsured and you have medical bills, um, don't the after like 90 days of delinquency, aren't the medical payments insured by the hospital?
Oh, meaning like if you are not insured and they have insurance to pay off the medical debt. Now, I want to say yes or no, but it all depends on the institution. I can't
Well,
really dig deep on that for you.
okay. So the reason, okay, so what I was getting to was, and this is a personal recountance of this. So I didn't have medical insurance, and I had to have a surgery. And I had the surgery. They asked me how I was going to pay for it. I told them I didn't have insurance. They had me fill out paperwork about not having insurance. So about maybe 4 months, 5 months down the line, a debt collector started calling me about this medical debt. And so, based off of information I received from my aunt, I told the debt collector to take me to court like they normally would if you are not paying the debt. And when I got into the actual courtroom, and the debt said, "Well, Mr. Scott, do you know or have any knowledge of this debt? Is this debt your debt?" And all I said to them, per the suggestion of my auntie, was that, "Your Honor, I don't know this company. I have never signed any documentation for any debt with this company." And the judge told the company to produce anything that was a signed document with my signature that said I owed a debt to them, and they could not. Therefore, the balance was not my liability anymore. And the reason being is because, this is just what I was told. That's why I asked to make sure it was true, was because that all of the services that are given out at a hospital that cannot be paid for are insured by that hospital, so that they don't really like go under when it comes to finance. But they also sell that debt off to debt collection companies for pennies on the dollar, and then the debt collection company comes after you, and that's how it gets on your credit report, because we don't go to court to refute it. The same way we don't go to court to refute traffic violations and get the nolo contendere, so our insurance doesn't increase on us. Just every year you get that same clearance. So I was just trying to make sure that the information I was given was verifiable and correct.
All right, the bank's math ain't mathin'. Come on, credit goddess.
Okay.
Take us to school.
Okay, so to answer your question, there are two things that you just mentioned, but I'm gonna bring it back to the basics. You didn't really have to go to court. You could have just sent a debt validation letter, because if the debt gets sold to a collection company, if it's not no longer with the original creditor, like say for instance, I owe Don money, right?
Yep.
And I have not paid him. So he can actually write that off on his taxes as if it's a loss, because he will have to pay taxes on that income, but I never gave him the money. So he can write it off, and if he decides to sell it so he can recoup from his loss, he can sell it to Coffee. So then Coffee comes after me and wants to get, money from me and wants to profit off of me. I have to ask her to provide proof that I owe her. If she cannot provide proof that I owe her, I don't owe her anything. So one, you cannot report it on my credit, and two, you can't attempt to collect the debt if you have not provided proof. So that's what happened to you in court when you state that I don't know who this company is, because I don't know who Coffee is. I know Don, and I know I owe Don, but I don't know who Coffee is. So no, I don't owe you anything unless you can produce that we were doing business together. And this is why, and this is to everyone, when they call you to verify a debt or attempt to collect the debt, the word attempt, they're attempting. So when they ask to verify information from you and you give them your address, your name, and all the information they need, then they can go ahead and send notifications. And especially if you open your mouth and say, well, I don't have the money right now, but can we make up an arrangement? That's a verbal agreement, and you are now on contract.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ooh wee.
Exactly.
Ooh wee.
Yes.
So credit goddess. So when people call you like that and ask you questions, are you telling me I am not obligated to answer their questions?
No. They need to notify
Not at
you
all.
by mail. Nope. And you can tell them that, hey, cease and desist from contacting me, because that's now a harassment, right? That's now harassment, and they shouldn't be calling you on a debt that you don't know anything about. It's like you're trying to bully me. So no, contact me by mail on any business that I have with you. Now, they don't have the information and they're not going to just send it to any address. That's the reason why they're calling to verify your address so they can properly notify you. If they don't have your address, and that's, then who they're going to send the letter to? They can't just send it to any old address that you no longer live in, because now they're going to put you in at risk of identity theft. Because if somebody get a hold of your information to an old address that you no longer live in, that you can sue them for identity theft, or negligent and things like that. So they have to properly abide by the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So you guys have laws and you guys have rights. You need to know that, so that way you can handle your business properly. So yeah, done.
I'm not trying to be derogatory here, all right? But when we're ignorant of something, that just means we don't know. So people are taking advantage of our ignorance here. And those people who are, good, honest, law-abiding people, somebody calls about this, I may have, for whatever reason, I could have had a reversal. I was sick and I could not work. I needed to get well. And then now I got all this debt, but I can't pay it because I got sick and I couldn't work. So now I got this, and now people are calling me. All right. And so now, and normally I would just say, I would just start answering these questions. Listen, I'm sorry, I was out of work. And you start going into this whole spiel. And when you start doing that, you're actually giving them ammunition to use against you. So folks, what I just heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, what I've just heard, when people call you up, they're going to tell you, they're going to say that this is an attempt to collect a debt. This is a recorded call. Anything you say can be used to help collect the debt. Why then would we give them information when they just gave us that disclaimer? Don't tell them anything.
Now, here's a simple solution to that.
Yes,
One,
come on.
ask them, like what Rose said. You ask them to provide you a written documentation of your obligation to the debt, whether it's a contract, something you signed, an agreement to repay them, and send it to you by mail. Because if you really owe them this debt and they have documentation, they can provide it to you by mail. If they don't have your address, then it's like, well, how do you know you're doing business with me? So that's on them, right? Because they're accusing you of something. So the what's the legal term I'm looking for in court? It's the responsibility is on them to prove that you're guilty of what they're accusing you of. Basically. I couldn't think of the legal term. But in addition to that, when they tell you that they're recording the call, then you also can in turn let them know you're recording the call as well. If they call you again, after you have told them that they need to provide you with the documentation via mail, you are now harassing me, you are putting me under distress, you are causing me emotional and mental anguish, and I will take legal action if you call me again.
Come on,
and you
folks.
Recorded it.
Come on, folks.
Leave you alone because they don't want that. They don't want those problems.
They don't want that smoke. Folks, did you hear what we're talking about? The math, the bank's math ain't mathin'. We are taken advantage of because we don't know the rules of the game. This is why the P.I.L.L method is here, so you can learn the rules to the game. Credit Goddess, that is fire. What else you got for us? Anything else?
Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say before we move on. If you all need a recording app, Tape a Call is in the App Store. Tape, like record, TAPE, a call. You can use it to record calls. So when you tell people you're going to record the call, really record the call so you can use that in the event you need to.
Did you hear that, folks? It's called tape a call.
Voice recorder. Yeah, I use voice recorder with Android. I don't know if y'all are iPhone or Android, but I'm team Android forever. And I use voice recorder.
Okay, Mr. Ryan, you can leave the stage now.
Right. I was going to say, that's on the App Store.
Wait a minute now. Don't do that. Wait. No, without Android, iPhone would not have a good camera. Let's not go down that deep dive.
We're not going to listen. We're not going to go there today. But folks, listen, we are hitting on all cylinders right now because listen, folks, this thing we're dealing with your money. We're dealing with your money, and the bank's math ain't mathin'. We want it to work for us. You want your money to work for you, not for someone else. And this is why we exist. So listen, if you want to know more about how all of this works, you want to get my book. Oh my goodness. Out of 33 million titles on Amazon, this book is the only book that talks about what we're talking about today. Go to Amazon, get the P.I.L.L method, a better way to eliminate debt, and start understanding these things from a basic level. You'll also find out what are the tools that I need to eliminate all of my debt in about 7 years. What are the tools? They're listed in that book and how to get the tools. Now, the book itself, it is not the tool. It is a list of the tools, and it gives you some basic understanding as to why you need the tools. That's what the purpose of the book is, so that we can get out of that old way of thinking about our money into the new way of thinking about our money. So go to Amazon, get the P.I.L.L method, a better way to eliminate debt. And also, if you want to know the month, day, and year you want to be debt free, go to my 10K card, ice10k.com, ice10k.com. That's ICE, the number 10 and the letter K.com. Once you do that, then you'll find a button that says get a savings and earnings report. Fill out all of the information. All right, fill it all out. Follow all of the instructions, and then you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free. Now that's the technology part. That is our, we affectionately call it our GPS for your money. GPS for your money. But most people think we're a technology company when we're really an education company. Our focus is to re-educate you about money and finances, the very stuff we should have learned from the very beginning. We are now sharing that with our clients so that they can get a bigger bang for their buck. You want to get your house, you want to buy your education, you want to do this, you want to do it in the most efficient way possible. And let me tell you, the most efficient way to get all the things that you need in life is to leverage someone else's money and pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of their money. Borrow money to level up, to create equity. This is what we're doing, and we're showing you how to borrow it at a discount. How do I know you can borrow it at a discount? Because banks do it every single day. They're the biggest borrowers in town. They borrow our money. They leverage our money. They send it out for people to use and to pay them big old interest payments on that money. Then they pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of it. Well, folks, we just went over several situations where you can use the bank's money, leverage it to get your house, your education, your car, whatever it is, and then pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of that money while your money is invested in other places. And as Credit Goddess says, making money babies. Okay, folks, is that where you want to be? Oh man, we're getting ready to get out of here. We got 4 minutes left. I want to give opportunity to all of folks in here to say goodbye, to follow your moderators, folks. Follow your moderators, please. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here. We're going to let Dr. Eric Thomas have the last word online. Then we're going to come back to Clubhouse and let everybody on stage have a last word today. I want to thank you for being here in our show. I hope and pray that you got something out of this show that can benefit you. Share this with your people. Share it. Become a P.I.L.L Method affiliate. Share it with them, and we'll all work together to get this message out. And as you're serving people, now I read a book, it's called The Go Giver. And one of the laws are Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. Help us serve people, and we will add to your bottom line. We will add income to you because you're helping us serve. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. And as we say goodbye to everybody online, see you on Friday.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.